The year was 2387. Earth had been a member of the Galactic Council for 50 years. Humans tried to be peaceful. They followed every rule. They paid every tax. They accepted every insult. Captain James stood on the bridge of the cargo ship Hope. His crew of 20 humans worked quietly. They were carrying medicine to the human colony on Mars 7. It was a simple mission. Nothing special. Then the alien warships appeared. 3 massive vessels blocked their path. They belonged to the Krex Empire. The Krex were one of the 5 ruling species in the galaxy. They had 4 arms, gray skin, and no mercy. "Human vessel, stop," the Krex commander said through the speakers. His name was Commander Vex. "We are taking your cargo." James felt his jaw tighten. This was the 3rd time this month. "Commander, this medicine is for sick children on Mars 7. They will die without it." "Not our problem," Vex laughed. The sound was like breaking glass. "Humans are weak. You exist because we allow it. Now surrender your cargo, or we destroy your ship." James looked at his crew. He saw fear in their eyes. But he also saw something else. Anger. Pure, burning anger. For 50 years, the galaxy had treated humans like slaves. The Krex took their resources. The Zorn stole their technology. The Helix destroyed human colonies for sport. The Council did nothing. They said humans were too young, too primitive, too weak to matter. "Sir," his weapons officer, Lieutenant Smith, whispered, "we could fight. We have those new plasma cannons Earth sent us. They don't know about them." James thought about the sick children waiting for medicine. He thought about his daughter back on Earth. He thought about 50 years of humiliation. "No," James said quietly. "We give them the cargo." Smith's face fell. The crew looked defeated. Again, they would bow. Again, they would submit. The Krex took everything. They even took the food supplies. They laughed as they left. "Remember your place, humans," Vex said. "You are nothing." But as the Krex ships jumped to hyperspace, James sent a coded message to Earth. It was just 3 words. Enough is enough. Those 3 words would change everything. On Earth, in a secret bunker 5 miles underground, General Williams received the message. He was an old man, 70 years old, with scars from the first contact war. He had been waiting for this moment. Contact all hidden facilities. Williams told his staff. Operation Prometheus is now active. For 50 years, Earth had pretended to be weak. They showed the galaxy old technology, rusty ships, and outdated weapons. But in secret, humans had been building. They studied every alien technology. They improved it. They made it better. Humans had one advantage the galaxy never understood. They could adapt faster than any other species. They could learn, copy, and improve anything in record time. While aliens stayed the same for thousands of years, humans evolved their technology every few months. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, massive shipyards came to life. Ships made of living metal that could repair themselves. Weapons that could crack planets in half. Shields that could stop a supernova. Humans had built them all in secret. On Mars, hidden armies activated. 10 million soldiers in power armor that made them stronger than any alien. On Jupiter's moons, fighter squadrons powered up. Each fighter had an eye that could think faster than any organic mind. But the real weapon was in Earth's core. Project Phoenix. A device that could destroy entire star systems with a single shot. Humans had built 5 of them. General Williams stood up. His old bones creaked, but his eyes burned with determination. "Send a message to all human colonies. Tell them to evacuate to the safe zones. In 72 hours, we declare war on the entire galaxy." His aide, a young woman named Lisa, gasped. "Sir, the entire galaxy? That's 500 species. Trillions of beings. Williams nodded grimly. They pushed us too far. They forgot the most important rule about humans. We might fall 7 times, but we get up 8. And when we get up the last time, we don't forgive. What about the council? They'll demand an explanation. Let them demand, Williams said. In 72 hours, there won't be a council left to complain. The age of human submission was over. The age of human vengeance had begun. 72 hours passed like seconds. Admiral Black stood on the bridge of humanity's flagship, the Vengeance. The ship was 5 kilometers long, black as space itself, and invisible to all alien sensors. Around him, 1,000 similar ships waited in the darkness between stars. All fleets report ready? Admiral, his second-in-command, Colonel Jones, reported. 20,000 ships in position across the galaxy. Black nodded. He was 45 years old, born in space, raised for war. His parents had died when aliens destroyed their colony for fun. Now he would have his revenge. Begin Phase 1, Black ordered. Across the galaxy, things started to explode on the Krex homeworld. Governor Rex was having his morning meal when the first bombs went off. They weren't normal bombs. They were nanobots, microscopic machines that had been spreading through Krex cities for years. In seconds, every military base on the planet turned to dust. Rex ran to his communication center. What is happening? He screamed. His aide, a young Krex named Tax, was pale with fear. Governor, all our defense stations are gone. Our fleet yards are destroyed. Our weapons, they're all offline. Who did this? Before Tax could answer, every screen in the room turned on. A human face appeared. It was General Williams. People of Krex, Williams said calmly. For 50 years, you stole from us. You killed our children. You destroyed our ships. Now you will pay the price. Rex grabbed the communicator. This is an act of war. The council will destroy you. Williams smiled. It was not a nice smile. What council? At that moment, the Galactic Council Station exploded. It had been the center of galactic government for 10,000 years. A structure the size of a moon, home to millions of bureaucrats and politicians. Human stealth ships had placed antimatter bombs throughout its structure. In 3 seconds, it was nothing but atoms. But humans weren't just destroying things. They were taking over. On every major trade route, human ships appeared from nowhere. They disabled alien vessels without killing anyone. Then they sent a simple message: surrender or die. Most surrendered. The Zorn Empire tried to fight back. They sent their greatest fleet, 500 battleships, to attack Earth. Admiral Black was waiting for them near Jupiter. Sir, Zorn fleet entering the system, Jones reported. Should we power up weapons? No need, Black said. Activate the mirror field. The Zorn fleet fired everything they had at the human ships. Plasma beams, nuclear missiles, gravity bombs. But when the weapons hit the human shields, something impossible happened. The attacks bounced back. Every shot the Zorn fired hit their own ships instead. In 10 minutes, the entire Zorn fleet had destroyed itself. Broadcast this to every species in the galaxy, Black ordered. But the real shock came when humans revealed their true numbers. The galaxy thought Earth had maybe 100 million humans. The truth was different. Humans had been secretly breeding on hidden worlds for decades. There were 50 billion humans spread across thousands of secret colonies. On the planet Haven, Commander Wilson led the ground forces. His soldiers wore power armor that made them 3 meters tall and strong enough to punch through steel. They took control of alien worlds without firing a shot. The aliens were too terrified to resist. Sir, the Helix are requesting terms of surrender. His aide, Private Martin, reported. Wilson laughed. The Helix had destroyed 12 human colonies for sport. They had broadcasted the deaths for entertainment. "Tell the Helix they have two choices," Wilson said. "Complete surrender and work as servants for 100 years, or complete extinction. They have 1 hour to decide." The Helix chose surrender. They weren't the only ones. Within 48 hours of the first strike, 300 species had surrendered to humanity. The rest were still in shock, but not everyone was giving up. Deep in the galactic core, the 5 oldest species were meeting. They were called the Ancients. They had ruled the galaxy for 1,000,000 years. They had technology that could destroy stars. "The humans must be stopped," said the leader of the Ancients, a being called Prime. "If we work together, we can still win." The others agreed. They began to gather their forces. Ancient weapons that hadn't been used in thousands of years were activated. Ships the size of moons began to move. The real war was about to begin. Asterisk. The Ancients struck back with the force of 1,000,000 years of power. Their first attack came at the human colony of New Texas. Captain Rose watched from her defense station as space itself began to tear apart. The Ancients were using weapons that broke the laws of physics. "Captain, what are those things?" Her gunner, Lieutenant Brown, asked in horror. Rose had never seen anything like it. Black holes the size of marbles that ate through shields like paper. Energy beams that aged anything they touched by 1,000 years in seconds. Ships that existed in multiple dimensions at once. "All units, fall back to position Beta," Rose ordered. But it was too late. The ancient fleet, led by Prime himself, destroyed New Texas in minutes. 20 million humans died. But Prime made one mistake. He let them broadcast their deaths across human space. He wanted to scare humanity into submission. Instead, he made them angry. Really angry. On Earth, General Williams watched the destruction. His advisors were pale with fear. "Sir, we can't fight that kind of technology," Lisa said. "Maybe we should negotiate." "No," Williams cut her off. "Activate Project Omega." Everyone in the room froze. Project Omega was humanity's last resort. It was so dangerous that even talking about it was forbidden. "Sir, are you sure?" Lisa asked. "They killed 20 million of our people," Williams said coldly. "Deploy the gray goo." Gray goo was humanity's most terrible weapon. Nanobots that could eat anything and reproduce endlessly. They could consume entire planets in hours. Humans had created them, but never used them. Until now, Admiral Black received the orders. He didn't hesitate. Launch the Omega missiles at these coordinates. The missiles were small, no bigger than a person. They slipped through space undetected. When they hit the ancient shipyard at Nexus Prime, nobody noticed at first. Then things started disappearing. It started small. A few tools went missing. Then entire rooms. Then buildings. Within an hour, the entire shipyard was gone. The nanobots had eaten it all and made more of themselves. Prime received the reports with confusion. "What do you mean the shipyard is gone?" "Not destroyed, Lord Prime," his aide said. "Gone. Eaten. And the thing that ate it is spreading." The gray goo spread to 3 ancient worlds before they realized what was happening. By then, it was too late. The nanobots ate everything: metal, rock, air, even energy shields. And they kept multiplying. "Stop it." Prime screamed at his scientists. "Find a way to stop it." But humans weren't done. While the ancients panicked about the gray goo, humanity launched Phase 2. Commander Wilson led the assault on the ancient throne world. But this wasn't a normal attack. Humans had learned something the ancients never expected. They had figured out how to hack ancient technology. A young human scientist named Dr. Park had spent years studying captured ancient devices. She discovered that ancient technology used quantum entanglement for communication. And she found a way in executing Hacknow. Park said from her lab on Earth. Across the galaxy, ancient technology began to turn against its makers. Defense satellites fired on ancient ships. Security robots attacked ancient citizens. Even their artificial suns began to flicker, and die. Prime couldn't believe it. How? How are they doing this? They're primitives. Children. His greatest general, an ancient named One, had an answer. Lord Prime, we made a mistake. We judged them by their age, not their ability. Humans learn faster than any species we've ever seen. What takes us 1,000 years to develop, they do in 10. Then we used the final weapon. Prime decided the final weapon was a device that could destroy time itself in a region of space. Anything caught in its field would never have existed at all. The ancients had only used it once, 1,000,000 years ago, to destroy a race that threatened them. They aimed it at Earth, but humans had been expecting this. They had studied every ancient weapon, including ones from myth and legend, and they had built a counter. When the final weapon fired, Earth disappeared, but not because it was destroyed. Humans had moved it. Using stolen ancient technology, combined with human innovation, they had shifted Earth into a pocket dimension for exactly 3 seconds. The final weapon hit empty space. When Earth reappeared, General Williams sent a message to Prime. It was just 2 words. Our turn. Humanity's real fleet, the one they had been hiding, emerged from hyperspace. 1,000,000 ships, each one incorporating ancient technology improved by human genius. The hunter had become the hunted. Asterisk. The 1,000,000-ship human fleet surrounded the ancient throne world like a steel cage. Prime stood in his command center, watching the impossible happen. His empire, which had lasted 1,000,000 years, was crumbling in days. Lord Prime, One reported, the gray goo has consumed 17 more systems. Our containment efforts have failed. And the humans? They're everywhere. Our forces are down to 30% strength. Prime couldn't understand it. The ancients had better technology. They had more experience. They should be winning. But humans had something else. They had rage, creativity, and the ability to do the unexpected. Admiral Black led the attack personally. His ship, the Vengeance, faced off against Prime's flagship, a vessel older than human civilization. Sir, their shields are impossible to break, Colonel Jones said. Then we don't break them, Black replied. We go through them. Launch the phase runners. Phase runners were humanity's newest invention. Ships that could exist partially in another dimension. They passed through shields like they weren't there. 100 phase. Runners flew straight through the ancient shields and attached to Prime's ship. Human Marines in advanced power armor poured out. Leading them was Commander Wilson himself. The ancients had never fought in close combat for thousands of years. They relied on their technology. But human Marines had trained their entire lives for this. In hand-to-hand combat, the power-armored humans were unstoppable. Wilson punched through a wall and found himself face-to-face with one. The ancient general was 3 meters tall with 4 arms, but Wilson's armor made him stronger. You humans are insane, one said. You're destroying the entire galaxy for revenge. No, Wilson replied, grabbing one by the throat. We're saving it. From you. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Park had made a discovery. She had been analyzing the gray goo, trying to find a way to control it better. What she found changed everything. General Williams, you need to see this, she said over the communicator. Williams looked at her data. Are you certain? Yes, sir. The ancients haven't been protecting the galaxy. They've been feeding on it. Every species that joins the Galactic Council, the ancients slowly drain their life force. That's how they've lived so long. Williams felt sick. How many species? All of them, sir. For 1,000,000 years, they've been parasites. They keep other species weak on purpose. This changed everything. Humans weren't just fighting for revenge anymore. They were liberators. Williams sent this information to every species in the galaxy. The reaction was immediate. Rebellions erupted everywhere. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years suddenly united against the ancients. The Kreks, who had tortured humans for decades, sent a message to Earth. We were wrong. The ancients controlled our minds. We ask for forgiveness and offer our fleet to your command. Even the Zorn, humiliated in battle, joined humanity's side. Better to serve humans than be food for ancients, their leader said. But Prime wasn't finished. In desperation, he activated the Void Gate. The Void Gate was a portal to another dimension, one filled with creatures of pure destruction. The ancients had sealed it 1,000,000 years ago. Now, Prime opened it. Monsters poured out. Things with no shape, no form, just hunger. They ate light, matter, and space itself. They headed straight for Earth. But humans had been studying the Void Gate too. And they had found something the ancients missed. The creatures weren't evil. They were prisoners. The ancients had trapped them and tortured them for eons. Dr. Park had built a device that could communicate with them. When she activated it, the creatures stopped their attack on Earth. Instead, they listened as Park told them the truth. The ancients were their real enemy. The void creatures turned around and headed for the ancient worlds. Prime's last weapon had become humanity's greatest ally. Admiral Black stood on the bridge of Prime's captured ship. The ancient leader was in chains before him, chains made from his own technology. How? Prime asked. You were nothing. Primitives. Children playing with fire. Black looked at him with cold eyes. That's where you were wrong. We weren't children. We were students. And you were our teachers. You taught us cruelty, so we learned to be cruel. You taught us fear, so we learned to be fearless. You taught us hate, so we learned to hate perfectly. What will you do with us? The same thing you did to thousands of species. You'll serve. You'll repair the damage you've caused. And you'll do it for as long as it takes. The ancient empire had fallen in just 7 days. Asterisk. 1 year had passed since humanity's 7-day war. General Williams stood before the new Galactic Assembly. Representatives from every surviving species were present. But this time, humans weren't at the back of the room. They stood at the center. The old galaxy is dead, Williams announced. The ancients' 1,000,000-year reign of secret tyranny is over. Today, we build something new. The assembly was different now. Every species had an equal voice. The Kreks, once proud tormentors, now worked alongside humans. The Zorn, former thieves, had become humanity's allies. Even the void creatures had been given a place, their dimension connected to normal space through controlled gates. But not everyone was happy with human rule. A group of species called the Resistance believed humans had become the new tyrants. They were led by a survivor from the ancients, a being called Two, who had escaped the fall of Prime.2, sent a message to all species. Humans pretend to be liberators, but they control everything. The gray goo still exists. Their weapons still threaten us. They are no different from the ancients. Some species listened. They began to gather in secret, planning to overthrow humanity. Admiral Black, now Supreme Commander of the Allied fleet, knew about the resistance. Should we stop them, sir? Colonel Jones asked. No, Black replied. Let them come. We need to show the galaxy that we're different. The resistance attacked 3 months later. They struck at Earth with everything they had. Two had gathered 10,000 ships from 50 species. But when they arrived at Earth, something unexpected happened. Earth's defenses didn't fire. Instead, General Williams appeared on every screen. People of the Resistance, we know why you're here. You fear us. You think we're the new ancients. So we offer you a choice. The space around Earth lit up. 1,000,000 human ships appeared from Cloak. The resistance was completely surrounded. We could destroy you in seconds, Williams continued. But we won't. Instead, we invite you to land on Earth. See how we live. Learn who we really are. If you still want to fight after that, we'll give you safe passage to leave. Tu couldn't believe it. It had to be a trap. But his followers wanted to see. Slowly, carefully, resistance ships began to land on Earth. What they found shocked them. Earth wasn't a military fortress. It was a garden. Humans had used their technology not for war, but for peace. Cities floated in the sky. Oceans were crystal clear. The air was pure. And living among the humans were millions of aliens, refugees from the war, living freely. Commander Wilson met Tu at the landing pad. Welcome to Earth. Would you like a tour? Tu saw Krek's children playing with human children. He saw Zorn working alongside humans in laboratories. He saw former enemies living as neighbors. This is impossible, Tu said. You defeated everyone. You could rule as gods. We could, Wilson agreed. But we learned something from the ancients. Power without purpose is poison. We don't want to rule. We want to build. Dr. Park showed Tu her latest project. She had found a way to reverse the gray goo, turning it into something that could terraform dead worlds into paradises. We could create 1 trillion habitable worlds. Park explained. Room for every species to grow and thrive. Tu began to understand. Humans weren't conquerors. They were builders, dreamers, and most importantly, they remembered what it felt like to be oppressed. The tour continued for 3 days. By the end, most of the resistance had joined humanity's cause. But Tu remained skeptical. What about Prime and the other ancient prisoners? Tu asked. What did you do to them? Williams took Tu to see them. The ancients weren't in prison. They were in schools. Human teachers were showing them how to feel empathy, how to create instead of destroy, how to be part of something instead of above it. Prime himself was learning to grow food. His hands, which once commanded the destruction of worlds, were now planting seeds. This is torture, Tu said. No, Prime spoke for the first time in months. This is redemption. I lived 1,000,000 years and never truly lived until now. Tu made his decision. The resistance disbanded. The galaxy truly united for the first time in history. Standing before the assembly, Williams made humanity's promise. We pushed back when pushed too far. We destroyed when threatened with destruction. But now we choose to build. Together, all species, we will create a galaxy where no one is weak, no one is prey, and everyone has the right to reach for the stars. The assembly erupted in celebration. The age of fear was over. The age of hope had begun, and somewhere in the void, the creatures that once brought terror now sang songs of freedom, their voices echoing across dimensions. Humanity had won not through annihilation, but through something far more powerful. They had shown the galaxy how to be human. Asterisk.